How would you like to save tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, on a mucus-free diet? Now, you may be saying that eating a lot of fruits and vegetables is really expensive, organic produce is expensive, all these kinds of foods are really expensive. Do you understand how expensive it is to not eat fresh produce? So in this video, I hope to explore some ideas about finance and practicing a mucus-free diet that will enlighten you and show you how to save tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even more in your lifetime by practicing a mucus-free diet. There's so many costs that we take for granted, that we think is normal, that it's normal to pay huge amounts of money for prescription drugs or other things, when in actuality, if you were to put that money toward an improved diet, you could change your financial reality. I'm Professor Spira, and I've practiced the Mucusless Diet Healing System for over 18 years. And I've been able to help thousands of people transform their lives for the better and ultimately save tens of thousands of dollars that they would have otherwise put into medicine, that they would have otherwise put into operations. And I myself saved untold thousands and thousands of dollars since I stopped taking pharmaceutical medications back when I started practicing the diet at the age of 19. If you look up the average amount that people spend on pharmaceutical medications, it will say $1,200. Now, mind you, we're going to go over some statistics. Some of these things can be questionable. I know from personal experience and family and friends the kind of money that people are spending, whether they do or they do not have insurance. There's all these different factors. But let's just take a look at some of this raw data and see if it makes sense. Is it too expensive to put a little bit of money into fresh fruits and vegetables? Or is that the best investment that you could possibly make in your life? So if the average person, and we're basing this pretty much on United States, the statistics say that the average person spends about $1,200 a year on pharmaceutical medications. Now, when I was 7 years old, I started taking a full load of pharmaceutical medications. And if that cost just stayed there, from the age 7 to now, I would have spent $36,000 on pharmaceutical medications. Now, when I got into the Mucusless Diet Healing System, all of the allergies, all of the chronic migraine headaches, the sore throat that I had all the time, the chronic bronchitis that I had yearly, I no longer had that. By changing my diet to fruits and vegetables, incorporating colon irrigation, a little bit of lemon juice and distilled water enemas, a little bit of fasting. By doing these things, I was able to rid myself of the specter of pharmaceutical medications. And you want to know how much money I saved just based on these statistics that we're dealing with right now? I saved over $21,600 just by getting off of pharmaceutical medications when I was at the age of 19. Now, what if I would have invested that money? All of that money since I was 7 years old, if I never had to get on pharmaceutical medications, what kind of savings would I have right now? If you were to put in $100 a month, which comes out to the $1,200 that people on average spend on pharmaceutical medications over 30 years. I'm 37 right now, so if since I was 7 years old, I were to invest, or that money was invested instead of into pharmaceutical medications, into some kind of savings instrument that would give a conservative return, 4% estimated interest, but compounding over time. If you were to calculate that, I would have $73,381.14 that I would have been able to make if I just didn't get on pharmaceutical medications and instead that money was invested. Now, I understand there's some questions about inflation and all that kind of stuff. I know a lot of people that are spending way more than just $100 a month on pharmaceutical medications and have been doing so since the 90s or the 80s. But what if you have a chronic illness such as cancer? Cancer medications routinely cost over $10,000 a month. For people that have insurance, some of that cost may or may not be covered. So much fine print, there's so much complication and stress and anxiety dealing with these insane insurance companies. Half the time you don't know what they're going to cover and what they won't. But that aside, high drug costs are passed on to all of us through premiums and through taxes. But what if you could prevent this kind of chronic illness? What if you could naturally heal this kind of chronic illness? More than 500,000 Americans pay over $50,000 a year on medications. And more than 100,000 Americans pay more than $100,000 a year on medications. What could you do with that money if you didn't have to spend it on medications? How could you invest that money in yourself? How could you invest the money to grow it and compound it over time? But they have conditioned us to think that this is just part of being alive. This is part of the American dream, part of the modern day human experience to go through this kind of chronic illness and be so disconnected from nature to not understand that we don't have to live like this. We don't have to go through this. Nobody said that we have to live this divorced from nature. And when we do, we suffer the consequences. And as Brother Air says, they have a place for you. If you don't want to get in line with nature, you don't want to change your diet, you don't want to save tens of thousands of dollars, they have a place for you. But do you really want to go to that place? I know that I don't. So let's talk health insurance for a second. So the average amount of money that people spend on health insurance in the U.S. 2019 was over $7,000 a year, or on average about $599 a month. $599 a month for something that sometimes you might use it, you might not. What could you do with $599 a month? I'll also mention that from 2018 to 2019, that price increased 4%. If it's going up 4% every year, that kind of inflation, again, what are you going to be spending in 10 years? Now, I'm not telling you to not get insurance or not deal with medical, this is not medical advice. We are exploring the financial cost involved in not taking preventative dietary measures to clean up yourself. Things that you can do today that can prevent and save you tens of thousands of dollars later. About 30 million Americans do not have health insurance. About 10% of people don't have health insurance. So what do? See, people and politicians, they throw these numbers out just like, oh, this is this, and so many people don't have this, and unemployment, this and that. Man, these are people's lives. But what I'm saying is you can take back control, whether you have insurance, whether you don't, whether you have a nice job and you got money coming in or you don't. No matter where you are on this spectrum, there's no excuse. You can do it. But it has to be a priority. In recent years, even locally here, I've seen more free store food banks have produce available. But people aren't taking it. They're not taking advantage. There's a bag of apples here and a can of Spam over here. People are taking the Spam and leaving the apples sit there. It's consciousness. It's not about the money. It's about the consciousness. What about hospital visits? The average hospital visit is over $10,000. My mom used to go to the hospital over 200 times a year, and that sounds crazy. That sounds like I'm making that up. I'm not. The ambulance would be called. They would come pick her up, take her to the hospital over 200 times in 1 year. So I don't even want to get the calculator out to try to figure out what that would have cost. But think about that. And even with the insurance, you don't know. You might be out somewhere doing your thing and you get sick, or something happens and you need to go to the hospital. Is that hospital covered by insurance? Who knows? You're gambling. When you're dealing with that insurance thing, you are gambling. What about the cost of surgery? How about a little bit of open heart surgery? $324,000 for open heart surgery. $262,000 for kidney transplant. And $1.2 million for an intestinal transplant. Now let's look at this. So sometimes we're criticized for our recommendation of using lemon juice and distilled water enemas. I got a video. We did a video on how to do that. If you're interested in it, then look down below, or find it on my channel. Lemon juice and distilled water enemas to irrigate the colon, remove all of that black slime, that nasty, smelly sludge, remove it, irrigate the colon out so that stuff doesn't fester and sit up in you to cause the decaying and dying cells that result in any number of chronic illnesses. And the dreaded C word. A little bit of colon irrigation to save hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. What makes more sense, to be cut on, to have somebody take a knife, cut you open, cut out some of your intestine, or transplant some of your intestine? Why? Because it died, it decayed, because you never cleaned it out, and you had acid forming, acidic, fetid, smelly, nasty, slimy crap sitting in it for decades, and you didn't do anything about it. So now the doctor, they come in and they say, we got to replace this, we got to replace your intestine. They cut you open and they take it out. Or with the open heart surgery, they cut you open, they do what they need to do. What's more crazy? What's more extreme and what's more unnatural? A little bit of water and lemon juice in your rear end, or have somebody take a knife and a hacksaw and cut you open, take something out, put something else back in. What's more natural? If you could prevent being cut on and having an intestinal transplant or an open heart surgery with a little bit of lemon juice and distilled water, some broom salads, giving up dairy and dead animal flesh, and while doing so, saving millions of dollars? Is this even a choice? How is this even a question or a choice? But addiction runs deep, and I understand that. I sympathize with that because I was there. Mucus and pus addiction runs so deep that we have institutions, medical institutions, nutritional institutions, and experts that tell you that you have to eat foods that cause chronic illness. They try to tell you that mucoid plaque doesn't exist. There's nothing that you can do about it. Well, if you believe that, I'm sorry. But if you think there's a glimmer of a chance to not live that kind of reality, to break the bonds, break the chains, break out of that mess, if you think there's a chance, then join me on the Mucus-free diet, and let's transform our physiologies and our health to put ourselves in the best position. I'm not saying that emergencies don't happen. And when legitimate emergencies happen, emergency room is a great thing to have nearby. I'm not telling you not to go do what you need to do, but I'm saying preventative lifestyle, prevent chronic illness. Why not? Why would you not want to do that? So what does it cost to practice the Mucusless Diet Healing System? It's a range. It depends on where you're at physiologically, what you're able to afford. You customize it based on your situation. But I will say, even if you spent $500 a month on organic produce. Now there's so many things that you can do to make that way less. Go to local farmers, go to wholesalers. We can get in, that'd be another video. We can just talk about how to really budget and save money, different things you might not have thought about when you're on this path. I mean, for years, I've started doing wholesaler way back when I started practicing the diet, just getting boxes of fruits and vegetables that I use all the time for juicing or for eating and whatever it is. So there's ways to make the cost a lot less. But let's just go with, even if you spent $500 a month on fresh fruits and green leafy vegetables, you are saving tens of thousands of dollars in the long run. That's $600 a month on health insurance. Just that alone. But what about when you get your age 45 or age 50 or age 55 and they tell you you got to have that open heart surgery? Now you're saving money again, but you're no longer taking pharmaceutical medications at $1,200 a year. You're saving that. So in the course of your life, by eating fruits and green leafy vegetables, you're saving, in some cases, millions of dollars. But you have to imagine this reality. You got to understand that you're allowed to live a life without taking pharmaceutical medications. If you want to, like, no one's forcing you to go down that path. Granted, you got to know about the other path, and you got to take action and do what's necessary to clean yourself up. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but like I said, cost-benefit analysis. What is harder? To be cut on and then you lose sometimes weeks of your life, months of your life recovering? You're losing tens of thousands of dollars. You're losing all of that time. When you can't work on your business, you can't be with your family, you can't, all these things where you're trying to recover. It's just loss. Losing control, not able to take care of yourself. Or fruits, vegetables, a little bit of fasting, a little bit of colon irrigation, some exercise, a little sunbathing, a little breath work. And you can prevent yourself from having to go to the hospital, from laying in the hospital bed looking at the ceiling, the hospital room ceiling. The choice is yours. But is it even really a choice? If you do live in the US, even if you don't have the money you think, that's conditioning. They're trying to convince you when you say something, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money to eat like that. How much money you spending on restaurants? I mean, I used to spend, that'd be a whole other calculation that I didn't even think about. But if I think about how much money I used to spend eating almost every day of my life at restaurants, put all that money together, I could have easily got whatever fruits and vegetables I wanted, organic as I wanted them to be. It just has to become a priority, and you gotta let the mindset, the mucus-free mindset, you gotta let that take over, and you'll see the world different. You'll see creative ways to make money, creative ways to save money, to be able to live this life. But it has to be a priority. It has to be a priority, or it's not going to happen. No one's just going to hand it to you. You got to do the work. But you got to understand, it's better to do the work. I would rather do this work. I'd rather lay on my side and give myself the enemas than to have a nurse come in and have to change my diaper or have to change my bedpan. And I know what it's like to have a parent that's in her 40s, having a nurse come in, changing a bedpan. Be visiting with your parent. Here comes a nurse, time to change a bedpan. A colostomy bag. What if that's 100% preventable? Don't wait. Don't wait. Make these changes right now. Save yourself thousands of dollars, hours of time. It's up to you. If you are really truly serious about getting yourself together physiologically with the mucus-free diet, I would like to invite you to enroll in the Mucusless Diet Healing System e-course. I spent years and years on this course, really trying to perfect it. And we have a lot of people that are already enrolled that are having their minds blown. We basically take you by the hand and we take you through the Mucusless Diet. So even if you've read the books, or you are advanced, or you're a beginner, you will benefit a great deal from this course. Just take you by the hand, go right through, lesson by lesson, lesson by lesson, getting deep into the details and bringing this information to life so that it's relevant to you in 2020, 21, 22. Because it's about the action. This is an art form, practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System. It's not a science. It is an art form because each person's situation is different. When you're learning how to play a musical instrument, it's not a science, it's an art form, because your hand size is not the same size as my hand. You know, your body's not the same body as mine. Likewise, with the Mucusless Diet, we're all different ages, different backgrounds, different ancestry. And all of that stuff factors into how you will practice this mucus-free diet. And it's all about transition, as we really nail home over and over again. Transition, transition, transition. You learn the principles. You learn how to gradually change. This is not a rush. Once you're on the path and you've committed to it, then you ride the wave. Ride the wave. You don't. Once you're committed, you don't have to rush. Now, I would say there is an urgency to become committed. I don't necessarily recommend a slow transition into becoming committed to being mucus free, but once you're committed, take your time, be patient. Let your physiology transform, and you will be able to have long-term success and longevity and prevent yourself from all of these ailments. So you can spend a few dollars on the e-course and have a return of tens of thousands of dollars over the years. As you clean yourself up, you're able to get off of the medications if you want to. I'm not recommending anything, no medical advice here. Just saying, that's up to you. If you want to, you can. No one's forcing you. This is about the decisions that you make, and we're just trying to provide you an opportunity to go down a different path and get yourself together. So I thank you so much for tuning in. Give this video a like, share this with brothers and sisters out there. Whoever could stand to save a little bit of money. How about that? You know, save 10 grand, 20 grand here or there. It's nice to do. It's nice to save money. I like it. Subscribe to this channel. We're trying to really blow things up over here, get new information out, putting out new content a lot more frequently now. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified when our new videos do drop. But take action right now. Go down below, click the links, go to the store today, get you a bunch of produce, come back, have a mucus-free meal. Take action right now. Don't think about it. Don't be like, don't ponder it and philosophical. Take action right now. Until next time, peace, love, and breath.